మీరు ఎప్పుడు వెళ్ళిపోవాలి మేడం మీరు కనపడటం లేదా మీరు కనబడతాను ఉమా మేడం కొంచెం దగ్గరికి రండి మేడం నాకు అర్థం వల్ల ఇట్లా వస్తా ఇట్లా తిప్పి మళ్ళీ అట్లా తిప్పుతాం మీరు ఆపరేట్ చేయాలి నేను కాదు గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ మేడం గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ మ్యామ్
ఫైన్
మేడం క్యామ్ కొద్దిగా డౌన్ చేసుకోండి మేడం క్యామ్ కొద్దిగా డౌన్ చేసుకుంటే మీరు ఇప్పుడు కనిపిస్తారు మేడం నమస్తే
all right as long as you can hear me it's more than sufficient
it is good. So I can see member secretary madam good morning madam Dr. Aparna madam
okay
Good morning, madam. Girvani garu, Kalarani garu, Uma Maheshwari.
Good morning madam. Namaste madam. Namaste.
Namaste. We'll start sharp at 11 o'clock.
okay
Yeah. So the DST people will join at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'll start.
That's the screen.
Hello, good afternoon, madam. Kalarani, madam. Okay,
Yeah. Madam, for us, good morning, and for you, good afternoon. Madam is attending from UK. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It is now 5:30, nearly 5:30 to me, 5:30 a.m. Early in the morning.
Early in the morning, madam. Then good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good morning.
so, meet Professor Uma Maheshwari, madam, Professor of
Namaste.
Applied Microbiology and our IQAC Director.
Namaste, madam.
She is another coordinator of this program, madam.
Nice to know that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam, namaste. Professor Girvani, madam. Namaste, madam. I am Professor Vijayaratna from Andhra University.
Oh, namaste.
Okay. Mute button. Huh? Sorry.
Hello, good morning, madam. Mangalmani, madam. Very good morning. Nice to have you on. Please meet all our eminent invitees, Professor Girvani, madam, and Professor Vijayaratna, madam.
Namaste. Vijayaratna.
Namaste, madam. Madam, namaste. Professor Uma Maheshwari Devi, we both are coordinating this program, and she is a senior professor of applied microbiology.
Namaste, madam. I'm very much happy to see all of you together. Thank you, all of women force now.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Dr. Secretary of APCAS, ma'am.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Namaste, madam. I am Nagini from Annamala University.
Okay.
Basically from Andhra.
Thank you very much, all of you, for joining for today's program. So we'll start within 2-3 minutes, sharp at 11 o'clock.
Sure, sure.
So, madam, please tell me, as the program starts, I'll unmute and put off the video also, so that the one who is speaking, that speech will come out well. That's what we usually do in meetings. All
Yes,
the
ma'am.
others, but the speaker will keep it in mute and video also off.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is the practice we will follow.
Yes. As the program starts, I'll put out the video also, my video also.
So good morning to everyone. On behalf of Upkash, I am inviting all of you to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav program on the theme Women and SNT for Women. I request our Member Secretary, Dr. Y. Aparna Garu, to deliver welcome address.
So thank you very much, Prashant. So good morning to everyone. On behalf of AP Cast, I am happy to welcome Dr. Devapriya Datta, Head and Advisor, Seed Division, DST, Government of India, Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Scientist F, Seed Division, Dr. Ravikant Prajapati, Scientist B, and other members from DST, Government of India, Director Generals and Member Secretaries of all other state S&T councils, and Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalayam, our state partner for this month theme, and all speakers, representatives of different state S&T councils for today's program. Today we are going to present our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and the theme of Women in S&T and S&T for Women as part of 1 month, 1 theme initiative program. In this context, I would like to remember the quote of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, I measure the progress of community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. So I strongly believe in these words. Being a woman member secretary of AP Cast, it is my privilege to conduct this month theme of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Women in S&T and S&T for Women. In this occasion, I would like to bring it to your kind notice that women are an important section of workforce, more particularly in science and technology domain. We have 43% of women graduating from STEM, science and technology, engineering and mathematics. However, women occupy only 14% in STEM jobs. This data poses a big question to the society, why there is a decline in women job participation in STEM. I strongly believe that equal involvement of women in S&T jobs is required for progress of the society. About 43% of STEM graduates in India are women, which is the highest in the world, but the share in STEM jobs in India is mere 14%. The primary concern has not been addressed for low percentage of jobs in the STEM jobs up to now. It is very important to find the reasons for this and need to encourage women in regular jobs in STEM. I strongly believe that greater women's participation in the science and technology sector will make women more strong and influential, giving a boost to their socio-economic situation in the society. Women's participation in science has immense impact on society. In this occasion, I would like to mention contribution of some of the women scientists in our country. So Paramjit Kurana is known for inventing all-weather seeds. She developed hybrid strains which are drought resistant. Women scientists in ISRO showed their stamina by playing a pivotal role in launch of Mars orbiter mission. Tessie Thomas from DRDO is known as the missile lady for successful launch of Agni missiles. Many women at higher positions in science have inspired younger women to excel in their life and became their role model. Kalpana Chawla, an astronaut of Indian origin working at NASA, became a national and household name. In this context, I would like to acknowledge and express my sincere gratitude to the Department of Science and Technology for encouraging women in science and technology with various schemes for women scientists. The DS-sponsored Women Scientist Scheme aimed for providing opportunities to women scientists who have taken break and decide to come back to professional life. Lot of women utilizing this scheme for building their career and coming back to mainstream and contributing a lot to science and technology field. I am very much happy to express my sincere thanks to CSIR New Delhi, DST New Delhi, who supported me with financial assistance for shaping up my career in early stages of my professional life. Without their support, it's not possible for me to come to this position as I belong to a small village in Andhra Pradesh with moderate background. I am happy to inform you that our Andhra Pradesh state government is committed to for the welfare and empowerment of women in the state by providing them better opportunities in employment, education, health, and overall economic development. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Y.S. Jaganmohan Reddy Garu, strongly believes in women empowerment, and most of the welfare schemes are women-centric only. Government is implementing various flagship programs to achieve women empowerment. He tried to address problems of all age women and accordingly schemes designed and supporting women. He is very much concerned about safety of women in Andhra Pradesh. All measures are taken for the women's safety by making Disha Act and establishing Disha police stations in Andhra Pradesh. All the measures are taken to enroll more women students in schools. My heartfelt welcome to Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalayam, our state partner for today's program. We have chosen this Women's University as our state partner based on their contribution towards women scientists and their way of encouraging women empowerment. This is the only women's university in Andhra Pradesh state. Even though this university is young when compared to prestigious universities in the state, but it is competing very well with other universities in the state under the guidance of Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Jamuna Garu. I really appreciate their effort and interest shown towards this program. The program was drafted in a systematic way covering women speakers from all the fields. Today they are organizing very big event in their campus on national education policy with 650 participants, but still they have shown a lot of interest towards this program in spite of their busy schedule. So my heartfelt welcome to Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Dr. Kalarani Madam, Dr. Uma Maheshwari Garu, and today's speakers for this month theme of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity on the occasion of celebration of theme on women. Kalarani Madam, I am handovering program to you. You can take forward the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you for your welcome address. Hope I am audible. Am I clear, Madam? Your mic is switched off, Madam.
You are very well audible. No issue.
Okay. Thank you, Madam. Thank you for that welcome address. On behalf of Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalayam, which is being chosen as a state partner by CAST with great confidence and entrusting the duty to us, thanking on that context, and on the occasion of Vigyan Utsav under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav with a theme, most sought after theme, women in science and technology for women. We are very happy to have all the eminent speakers and the eminent chief guest or keynote speaker, Professor Girvani Reddy Garu. On this occasion, I deem it a privilege to, on our behalf, welcome Dr. Devapriya Datta Garu, Head and Advisor of SEED, and Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Scientist F, and Dr. Ravikant Prajapati, Scientist B from DST, and all other officials, Professor Girvani Reddy Garu, and all our speakers, along with our administrators, Professor Duvuri Jamuna Garu, Vice Chancellor, and Professor D.N. Mamata Garu, the Honorable Registrar, and all our deans, faculty members, and the delegates for this occasion. I am very happy to have you, and we will conduct the proceedings starting from requesting Professor P. Uma Maheshwari Devi, the Senior Professor of the Department of Applied Microbiology, Director of IQAC, and the Coordinator of TEP Outreach Cum Cluster Innovation Center, sponsored by DSIR, to present about the program. Over to you, Professor Uma.
Thank you, Kalarani Garu. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor D. Jamuna, Pro Chancellor, Professor Pasala Girvani Garu, Professor Y. Aparna, the Member Secretary from APCAST, Devapriya Datta, Head from the DST, other members of the other DST members, distinguished invitees, the other invitees, the delegates who joined online, good morning to all. The basic premise of this webinar, first let me congratulate the DST for initiating a thought-provoking webinar series on Women in Science and Technology for Women, especially under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let me thank Professor Y. Aparna Garu, the Member Secretary of APCAST, for choosing our university for conducting this webinar and to share our knowledge with other members itself. So the basic premise of this webinar is to understand the role and achievement of women in science and technology while inspiring the young minds to pursue higher education and venture towards the science and technology as academicians, researchers, as well as entrepreneurs. Everybody knows pretty well that in India, for the last few decades, that is the women education is on the rise. And just now, Aparna Madam said that the 40% of the science community are women. We are very much appreciable for that. This is possible just because of the awareness program, as well as the powerful and inspiring personalities from the science and technology. But still, if you look into that statistics of just now Professor Aparna Madam expressed that, if you look into the statistics of the women in higher education and employment in the STEM, that is the science and technology, still the percentage is only 14%, 14 to 25%. What is the major setback? In my feeling, the setback is the household affairs. And another major reason for that is the lack of awareness about the importance of women education as well as the employment. In this scenario, maybe the DST, and I can acknowledge that the APCAST as well as the Mahila University, they thought that this type of webinar series is very important to inspire and to motivate the students as well as the other members to choose the path of science and technologies. In this context, we invited the eminent personalities from various fields to inspire you in order to motivate towards the path of science and technology. So today, here we have the eminent scientist and administrator, that is the Pro-Chancellor, Professor Pasala Girvani Garu. Right now, she is the Pro-Chancellor for Chinmaya Vishwavidyalaya. I'm happy to share that formerly she is the Vice Chancellor of Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalayam, who is a great academician, administrator. Definitely I can say that she is a stalwart in the science and technology. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing the occasion. Another eminent personality, Professor Puranam Vassala Swami Garu, Director Academics, and also a renowned doctor. Right now she is working in the Patil Medical College and Hospital, Pune. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. The third one, the inspiring personality from ISRO, the Mrs. Mangalamani Nalli, that is a scientist and engineer, I can proudly say that she's the first polar woman of ISRO. Thank you, ma'am, for joining for this event, at least to inspire the young minds to go for the space research. Professor Vijay Ratna Jayanti garu, she joined from United Kingdom, that is a UK. Right now, she's the honorary professor of Andhra University for the Pharmaceutical Sciences. Thank you, ma'am, for extending your information and disseminating the knowledge on how the women can work in the field of science and technology. Another noteworthy or outstanding candidate is the Professor Nagini. You have to remember that she's the UGC BSR Research Fellow and she's working in the Department of Biochemistry and Biotechnology, Annamalai University. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting and our invitation and gracing the occasion. And another outstanding scientist is Dr. Padmavati from the chemistry background. I think she benefited more from the Department of Science and Technology, and we invited her to share our experience with the young minds itself. In addition to that, we invited the Women Scientist Awardees, that is K. Lata, and also the young budding scientists like Rekha, Jansi, and Suchita, who are the inspiring awardees to continue their doctoral degree by getting the fellowship from the Department of Science and Technology. Further, I can acknowledge that we arranged this platform to disseminate the knowledge as well as to stress upon the funding opportunities which are available for the women to continue their path in the science and technology. I can end up with this. The take-home message is try to inspire from the prominent leaders, the scientific leaders from this platform, and try to continue, even though there are so many bottlenecks, try to continue in the field of science and technology and dream for a very good future in the science and technology. Thank you very much for giving me this beautiful opportunity. I thank both Aparna Madam as well as Kalarani Garu for giving me this beautiful opportunity. Over to you, Kalarani Garu.
Thank you, Professor Uma. Thanks for that elaborated introduction about the upcoming program and ending with a very good message as a note. Thank you so much. And now I request the gathering to focus on getting introduced to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Jamuna Duburu. Professor Jamuna Duburu is herself a role model for the women community, having over 40 years of research and teaching experience. Madam is hailing from the Community of Psychology Division with ICSSR Fellowship at the Center for Research on Aging. She had a long service in the Department of Psychology, Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati. After conducting 21 national and international research projects being operated, she edited 15 books and published more than 100 articles in reputed national and international journals. Madam is a recipient of Senior Fulbright Fellowship and worked in Penn State University, USA. And she worked as a professor and Commonwealth Fellow at Stalford University, Manchester. To very briefly introduce to you her achievements, Madam is a recipient of AGI Tilak Award and Sandoz Foundations for Gerontological Research Award of UNSAM Nations, Switzerland, and United Population Fund Award of International Institute on Aging. And Madam is a recipient as early as in 2011. She is a recipient of AP State Best Teacher Award from Andhra Pradesh government and the Faculty Award of CCG Fight from Canada. She visited as a visited Canada as a gerontologist awardee and visiting scientist at Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology, Japan, and served in national and international professional organizations as an advisor. And I can just share you that she is continuing her service to educate, to counsel, and to empower the women community, starting from Mahila University to the entire state and even the nation and at international levels. We are very fortunate to have such an eminent personality to lead us on our campus, and I thank her for giving us this opportunity. And I request I request the organizers to share the message sent by Madam, since as Dr. Aparna has already mentioned, another big program is going on campus and they are held up there. So I would like to share their message with you.
Good morning and namaste from Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam. Dr. Aparna, Member Secretary Upcast, the most revered senior scientist Professor Girvani Garu, distinguished scientists of this day, young scientists from Inspire, from ICMR MHRD, I deem it as privilege to welcome you all to our midst for this event with the theme Women in Science and Technology and Science and Technology for Women. It's my distinct pleasure to acknowledge the support of Upcast, especially for recognizing this university to organize and celebrate this Vigyan Utsav with the initiative of DST, Science, Technology and Innovation Program, as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. At this juncture, it's my pleasure to share the success story of Sri Padmavati Mahila University in the month of March 2022. In line with this year National Science Day celebrations, we have organized a week-long celebrations reflecting the theme Integrating Science and Technology for Sustainable Future. We at Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam have organized various events and also utilized this event to showcase the innovations of our faculty, especially reflecting the theme of NSD 2022, especially from the departments of computer science, engineering, sericulture and biosciences, their innovations, IoT gadgets, and many more innovative technologies were showcased on this occasion, which attracted the students from various schools, especially girl students, and also faculty students of this university, especially the print and electronic media. I'm sure this was a very successful event of this year to demonstrate our strength in science and technology and innovations. And we concluded this with a Power Walk 2022, where 1,500 students and faculty members were participated to demonstrate the slogan, the strength of women, break the barrier and born to be equal. So, which was very, very great success. Then we lined with the motto of Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam, Gnanam Nirmochanam Shrinam, which means emancipation of women through the acquisition of knowledge. See, we organized International Women's Day celebrations by recognizing the eminent women in science and technology and other fields and conferred them with the Sri Padma Medha Awards of 2022. This is a distinct honor we have given to the empowered women in science and technology. We are aware that education is the tool to bring the social equality. So as per the national reports of education, it's pretty clear that there is an increase in the class enrollment ratio at all levels of education. Especially, it's very, very disappointing to say the gender parity is very, very high in certain courses at the higher education level, and especially the advancement of women towards higher education or higher studies. This concern needs to be addressed. I'm sure this one-day event definitely will take it forward to make it clear that it should be addressed at the appropriate platforms, how the women should play a very, very important role in science and technology, and also the women should be encouraged, appropriately by various strategies. On this occasion, I wanted to thank the entire governing council of UPCAS and especially Dr. Aparna for their nice gesture in selecting the SPMVB. Also, I thank all the distinguished scientists who are part of this today's event for your brilliance in expressing your own, talent in the field of your choice. I congratulate all of you and especially the young budding scientists in science and technology with bright future. Conveners of this event, Professor Uma Maheshwari and CEO Professor Kalarani. Thank you so much.
Prashant, can you share next slide? So some net problem with Kalarani madam. So
Yes,
next voice message of Mamata Garu.
Yes, madam. Yeah, so I'm really happy to invite Professor Mamata madam and who is also could not join because of her preoccupation. Professor D.M. Mamata, our dynamic registrar, is from the Department of Agriculture, and she is a recipient of United States India Educational Foundation Fulbright Awardee and the Women Health, World Health Organization UNESCO Awardee and Deputy Young Scientist Awardee, Department of Biotechnology, INSA Research Fellowship Awardee, that is Indian National Science Academy, and Research Excellence Awardee, and also FISCA Life member. She also shared her feelings towards this program. We will just listen to her. So am I audible now, madam?
Yes, madam, very much.
Yeah, we will just wait for a moment. Listen to her, madam.
You play the audio, Prashant. వాయిస్ రావట్లేదు. ఓకే.
Madam, there's no audio.
Audio. Thank you. So I thank Professor Mamata, our registrar, to make a note to address on this occasion, though she is not physically here. As rightly pointed out by her, multifaceted and multi-directional approach to promote women is most sought after issue right now, and we all agree with her and we work in that direction. Now I deem it a privilege and honor to introduce to you all our honorable guest of today and the keynote speaker who is being requested to inaugurate this event, Professor Fasala Girvani Madam, Honorable Pro Chancellor of Chinmaya Vishwavidyapith, which is deemed to be an university which is located in Kerala. And we are proud to share that Madam is the formerly Vice Chancellor of our University, Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, who made a revolutionary progress in the history of the university. Madam, after obtaining PhD in food and nutrition, started her career as associate professor and served as a professor of nutrition for over 20 years. And during this period, she also served as a dean for 5 years in Andhra Pradesh Agricultural University, Hyderabad. As I mentioned earlier, Madam is our earlier vice chancellor of this university, and she served as a member of academic council and syndicate for several universities, and as a member as well as a chairperson of a NAT peer team, and visited over 25 universities in the country. After completing 20 research projects funded by Ministry of Agriculture, Women and Child Welfare, Science and Technology of Indian government, FOA and UNICEF, European Union, International Development Research Council, as well as several organizations under government of Andhra Pradesh, Madam has published over 100 of her research papers in several reputed journals and written several chapters in the books. And during 1991 and 94, Madam served as a consultant of Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, worked on implementing and monitoring a multi-sector project for combating vitamin A malnutrition in Nepal, and successful in reducing to certain extent this problem. And Madam is a very proud recipient of several awards, to mention a very few. In 1991, Madam has received Liguria International Award and received 16,000 US dollars. That means you can understand, in 1991, 16,000 USD dollars means this is a lot in present days, for the development of technology for child health and nutrition. She is also a recipient of Fulbright Scholar and Fellow of United Nations University of Tokyo, and Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, and active member of Indian Women Scientists Association of India, the Dietetics Association of India, and the Nutrition Society of India. In the website we searched for Madam's biography, and to our surprise, it is mentioned as post-retirement, but we strongly believe that Madam didn't retire yet, and we strongly believe that she will never retire. And the proof of that, I can mention that she worked successfully in translating the Valmiki Ramayana into English, along with 5 commentaries, with a grant from MHRD after her retirement, and executed from regular service, executed through the National Sanskrit University, Tirupati, and also published it, and continuing her service, serving as Pro-Chancellor for the esteemed university, as now I mentioned. We are really very proud and happy to have you, Madam. And over to you, Madam, Professor Girvani, Madam.
Very good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Yes, you are audible, madam.
Okay. A very good morning to the fellow scientists, member secretary, organizers, distinguished speakers, and active participants of this movement of science and technology for women in India. Vigyan Utsav is the title of the program. Science is translated as Jnana and Vigyan is technology. Probably Government of India wanted to celebrate technology and science and technology empowerment for women. And it's a very good theme. I know that the Department of Science and Technology has conceived this long time back, even when I was in service. I remember Dr. Kamala Kumar was the first person, who's a scientist in charge of the Science and Technology for Women branch in Department of Science and Technology. She would call scientists and tell, please take up projects for women, by women, and so on. I am reminded of the very pleasant meetings we had at that time. Now, why special focus on women? Science and technology, we know it's certainly important for the growth, development of the nation, people at large. Why was this special focus on women? Now, the special focus is more, one, because of gender gap in literacy and higher education itself. Two, gender gap in choice of the subjects by women. There's not so much of enrollment in higher studies, particularly in research in science and technology. And that was the reason to identify it, so that women inclusive science and technology programs can develop and women become participants in decision-making process of science and technology of this country. It was intention and a lot of encouragement was given. Now, it is not that women did not participate or there were no programs before. Women did participate, but there was a very limited participation. Certainly, science and technology has shown benefits in the country by bringing down the infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate. It has brought the economic development of women. It has brought down the drudgery of women. Women's health status is certainly better today. Women have contributed in a small manner for environment, public health and sanitation, etc. But this is not sufficient, because science and technology is not just health and welfare, but it goes beyond that. And women are generally endowed with multitasks. By nature, they are they can do various tasks, but we are losing the talent of women, our ability to think and decision-making process. So therefore, women, probably Government of India was bent upon giving some focus on women's education. Now, let me tell you, it is not that women were not innovators in the past. Women were innovators, but unfortunately, it did not receive the attention of the policy makers and the scientists. I want to quote one example. I'm sure some of you may be familiar. The National Innovation Foundation, which was started at IIM Ahmedabad, with which I was also associated. This is way back in 1989, 88. It was started by Dr. Anil Gupta, and thousands of innovations by women in the grassroots level has been documented, authenticated, and circulated to the research organizations to see if the authenticity of the documents, whether the usefulness, and whether technology can help to upgrade these innovations and make it public to the larger number of people. So innovation was always there, but recognition and support was probably not there. And therefore, the special focus on this Vigyan also for women and development through science. Now, we are constantly reading Women in Science and Technology, Science and Technology for Women. Yes, there are already women in science and technology. How do they contribute? And what kind of science and technology are required for women? Now, women, as I said, they are involved in multitasks. The drudgery needs to be reduced. Any technology or innovation for development of women should consider the improvement in the quality of life of women, family, and improve their access to knowledge and technology so that the drudgery is reduced, the effort and time is saved, and there is no wastage of time and energy, and the there is a protection of environment through this. Nutrition and health programs that have been taken up by government, there was a lot of involvement of women. That's because in the early days, most of the women tend to choose biology, as probably there were softer skills in biology. Women went into more biology-oriented science and technology. But we see now a big change happening. I'm very happy to find large number of enrollments in engineering and mathematics, also branches, and justifying the need for STEM program in the country. But there is a lot of scope if they expand the involvement beyond biology and go into engineering and mathematics and physical sciences, because there is a lot of opportunities for women to contribute and to contribute to the women at large. Now, I know that technology parks have been created. I've just seen the document sent by Kalarani. I'm familiar with some of the technology parks. Now, these technology parks also need to be really upgraded. They should really be replicas of laboratories extension, because the technology park is more an extension of innovations done by scientists, and it should be very practical and cater to the needs of women who require the training and knowledge in technology. These should become training centers for technology training. The focus in such parks should not only be for economic activity, which I see most often, also for technological improvement. I remember way back, some 30 years back, one technology for developing the design of tools used by women in the farming process was developed in order to prevent drudgery to them, in order to reduce the energy expenditure, in order to reduce the injury of the hands of the women. I won't consider it to be a small exercise. It's a good experiment. Technology does not mean only space, science, but technology means reducing the drudgery, reducing the energy expenditure, reducing the time and effort on the part of the individual, and maintaining good health and safe technology for women. So we need more women in science and technology. We also need more women to think in terms of the technology required for women development. Both aspects are equally important. Now, I think quite often we have observed that women acquire knowledge, but not the skill to compete. And this skill to compete in the market as an entrepreneur is an area which needs some more attention. I find knowledge impact is being seen, but when it comes to technology impact, it is comparatively low. Quite often, and I say in terms of nutrition, awareness has been created on good food, good nutrition, good health practices. When it comes to practice, they need some support to practice whatever science has been taught, whatever awareness has been brought by institutions extending the knowledge. Now, I recently, since my retirement, I have been just associated with the Chinmaya Mission, education wing of the Chinmaya Mission. I happened to visit schools and see how science is being taught. More out of my own curiosity, I focused on it. I found there is no, I don't mind being public about it. Science teaching is not as it should be to generate interest for us to become a scientist in a woman. It's just very ordinary. Of course, there is a content revision, there is a curriculum, there is a question evaluation, there is an examination, there is mark scoring. At the end, what? How many girls has the school inspired? How many labs are up to date in schools to inspire girls? How many times the teachers have been updated in latest science and technology? Or how many workshops have the government or the organizations conducted in science, in different areas of science? It can be summer holidays, can certainly be utilized. I find science teaching should be such that it should inspire the student at the school age. Of course, we hold competitions, give prizes, but the teacher per se, the student per se, should be inspired to take it up in a competitive manner. And you have to catch them young if you want to get a big scientist. You can't catch them at MSc level and say you become a good scientist. No, the thrill of science must be experienced only through school education. I'm saying high school education. Concepts of science are not at all handled in the manner it should be in the high school level. Maybe here and there some schools might be doing it. I don't want, there may be some special students also who are inspired, sometimes because of their parents, sometimes because of their social interaction. But school as such, has it become an inspirational center for advancing in science for women is a big question. They teach very well theory, I'm sure. But when it comes to application part, it is not very well handled, or sort of it is not given as much attention. Similarly, maths teaching requires a lot of improvement. There is a great confusion with maths teaching in first class in English. The child does not know the language, you try to teach in that language mathematics. She can't understand the concept. So she becomes mediocre. She thinks this is not a subject which she can understand. There itself, you have lost a child, girl child coming into maths. Now, this is my practical experience. Some of you who are into the field doing research on this probably may explore. I am not denying that fact. Now, I feel the Department of Science and Technology should set up laboratories for children interested, or whether it's university students or +2 students or high school students, some laboratories at the school level or some selected schools, so that they go in during their leisure time, learn beyond also. No counseling. If the neighbor is doing engineering, the child joins engineering. She doesn't even know how many branches of engineering there is. Teacher does not tell. It is only from the neighbors, or it is the coaching centers which tell them, you choose this, you will do this. There is no proper motivation at the foundation level for a girl to choose the science in which she is interested. To know what is science also, what is the future of science, what are the careers opportunities available for a girl child in the school level. And some visits should be arranged compulsorily for girl students to visit. See, girls are not taken out. Excursion is for some recreational centers, or let's say some temple centers, or some beaches and lakes or something, or some parks. One visit must be made compulsory for the girls to see women doing science. In big cities, yes, it is possible, but there is so much of talent in the districts because they live close to the nature. Their understanding of nature and environment is by their own experience, not from the books. But they don't get to see what is going on beyond that. So I feel some kind of a policy decisions are required if we want more women in science and technology, and women in science to concentrate on science and technology for women. Now, what technology do women need? Now, at different levels is a different technology. Women engaged in agriculture require different technology. Women engaged in fisheries require different technology. Women engaged in enterprises related to the textiles require different technology. This kind of a grouping of technologies, specialists in this must be drawn, and experiential learning should become part of the focus on experiential learning. It's not just sending them to some lab and then bringing them back. Now, what is that before you send, you have to be sure what is that you want that student to learn. Now, and then what is that they have learned. On that, there should be a lot of number of vacations are there. It should be made use of. Some kind of a policy consideration should be made. I mean, ultimately, what I feel is we are losing girls interested in science at a very early age. This is my latest, in my experience. I realized there are some very bright girls coming from very ordinary schools, but they have no guidance. They don't have an idea of what scope they have. And maybe some of the scientists can explore the possibility of going and teaching, just talking about one topic, just pick up one topic, go, what is a space shuttle, why, just describe it. No, you create a thrill in the student, then you have got them young. If you don't catch the girl students at the young age, you can make them some very great scientists at university level. Wastage of education at university level is more expensive. So we have to think of who enters science, what kind of students are entering science, how do we create interest for them, how do we evaluate them in science and technology at the end of the science courses, masters and PhDs, and how useful the technology and are they choosing technologies required for women's drudgery? Are they choosing technologies for environment protection? Are they choosing technology for women's health issues? I mean, particularly, and of course, IT field is a very big field in which women have entered. I'm really happy that large number of women have done well and are doing well also, and they have good opportunities in that. But particularly in engineering and applied sciences, we need little more policy considerations. Of course, I'm sure Department of Science and Technology has been supporting a lot of research projects in science, and some kind of journals on research done for women, by women also can sort of get some social recognition for these young scientists who are venturing into different areas of engineering, mathematics, and so on. I think I'm happy that I am invited to participate in this meeting, and permitting me to share my personal views as a scientist, what I have seen, what I see. There is still scope for women. Women can make good decisions, are making good decisions, but the opportunities that they have are very, very less even now. They need much more support in the future, particularly for engineering and maths. Some kind of policy consideration should be taken up on science and technology education. Thank you very much for this invitation, and it was nice to know that so many women are involved, and larger number of women are involved these days than what it was 20 years back. I thank the Vice Chancellor for having associated me with this important project. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. And we are really graceful, and we are very fortunate enough to listen to your message with lots and vast of experience you are sharing. Your experience rightly pointed out the need of special focus on women, and how you narrated the knowledge being imparted and which is creating impact, but technology, though it is evolved, has to create impact. And the quote, madam, very sensitive quote you made, which is very alarming, that losing the girls in science at very early age. So the sensitive matter which needs to be focused, and the message you have given to incorporate the policy to be organized by DST and to groom from the younger ages. Thank you, madam, for making special focus and giving your advice to follow, madam. We really profusely thank you for your time, patience, and the valuable sharing, madam. Thank you. Thank you so much, madam. So I now request Professor Poonam Vassala Swami, the Director of Academics, Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center, Pune, to present. Before she makes, though, her achievements are a very, very vast list, I will confine myself due to time constraint. I also request the following speakers to shorten, kindly shorten, though we are eager to listen to you and your experiences in a detailed manner. Due to short of time, we request you to confine to the time. Madam, being a recipient of MBBS degree from SV University Tirupati, our local area, Andhra Pradesh, in as early as 1972, done her MS in anatomy from Pune University, and served in Armed Forces Medical College, Pune, starting from 1972 at various capacities, and retired as professor in 2006. We don't believe, madam, that you got retired. You are proving that you are still yet to retire by acting as dean after your retirement in Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College and working as a director for IQAC with teaching experience of over 49 years, publishing over 60 papers in reputed journals. And I can mention that Madam has participated to share her views in several forums such as Indo-US Educational Conclave and Sakal Edukon at Singapore, a National Convention on Digital Initiatives for Higher Education. And she is conferred with Best Administrator Award, and among several other awards, she has received, I can say, Best Teachers Award in 2012 by D.Y. Patil University and GRAPS Educational Trust Award in 2015. She is a recipient of Fellowship of Anatomical Society of India and Fellowship of International Medical Sciences Academy, and Best Director of Academics Award being conferred by Manamuna Foundation. Apart from all her academic research and medical services, I'm really happy to share that she is rendering her voluntary services as a trustee and treasurer of Care India Medical Society, which is an NGO organization which takes care of terminally ill cancer patients. We really admire your contribution in that way, madam, and she is continuing to work in her research interests, that is medical education, neuroanatomy, and embryology. We are very happy and proud to have you in the midst of us, madam. Thank you so much. Over to you, madam.
May I share the slides? Good morning. Thank you very much.
Yes,
am I audible?
Yes, madam. And please, please mind for the time, madam. Thank you.
Greetings from Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College Research Center, Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapith. A very good morning to Dr. Aparna, Member Secretary, Professor Jamuna Duvuru, Vice Chancellor, Professor Pasala Girvani, Madam, Pro Chancellor, and the dignitaries from Padmavati Vishwavidyalaya, Professor Mamta, Professor Uma Maheshwari Devi, and Professor Kalarani, and all the faculty and students who are with us today. I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity on women empowerment in health sector and introspection. I'll be just giving you an overview of what is health sector about, which you already know, but we are just going to impress upon as to what is that we should know as far as women empowerment is concerned. Just when I was listening to Madam Aparna, India, one of the countries that produces highest number of scientists and engineers, but 43% STEM graduates in India are women, which was just now mentioned, that out of which only 14% are employed. More women participation in science and technology will make women strong and influential. And what is our motive is gender gap needs to be addressed. Now coming to the women empowerment and equality. All of you know that it is crucial, critical for sustainable development. And in India, healthcare is provided 70 to 80% is by women. Women are responsible in education of society to recognize their health and nutrition needs. Women professionals and empowerment of women at all levels is required for improvement of health, which I think you all will agree. Highest affordable standard of health, whether it is physical, mental, and social well-being, can be maintained only with this standard of health. Healthy population must for sustainable social, economic, and environmental development and for peace and security. I must say that all of you will agree with me that our society is patriarchal and there is discrimination against women, and all of us need to juggle both family and work. I'm talking about women, balance both with grit and determination, and need to be empowered to ensure equal opportunities. Coming to research, I'm into research and I know that we keep on motivating women, but just now I was listening to Madam who was talking about they should start early, very early, that inculcation, like so many incubation centers are now all over, everywhere, every institution has, but it should be inculcated early so that they get into that thinking that they have to be in the research field. Whereas women in the healthcare industry, when you take about 60% of women are in the healthcare industry, and women health workers, they contribute a lot to the community. And I am observing them for the past 2.5 years. Otherwise, we know there are all of us working in the hospitals, in the medical colleges, in the research centers. But during this COVID-19 pandemic, human work that has been put in by the health frontline workers, especially, so they contribute a lot to the community. But you must agree that the number of the doctors, administrators, and healthcare workers, barring one, that is nursing, the competence and experience is there, but despite that, the number is definitely less. Hence, there is a need to empower, to be empowered, to ensure equal opportunities for training and promotion. Empowerment of women at all levels is required. That is a must for the improvement of health and nutrition. I was listening to Madam just now who was talking about nutrition. What is the role of women in the health sector? Past, present, and future. All of us know it. When we introspect, all of us agree that we have many roles as health educators in the health sector and in the healthcare organizations, doctors as doctors, nurses. I must tell you, this is one profession which is monopoly of women. I think you will all agree with me. And there are midwives, there are administrators, and number of women entering medical and healthcare workforce, 100% I agree that it is increasing. It has increased over years, not only in our country, but globally too. I just want to show you some of the women. I heard Aparna Madam talking about the eminent women like Paramjit Khurana, Missile Lady, and I must tell you that women have entered all the avenues that are available to them. And one is already we know that there are pilots and we know that there are academicians, and I am talking about women in defense. I am proud to say that these are the women who have graduated. We are proud to have them as our students in Armed Forces Medical College, and all of them have reached the top. Soumya Swaminathan, you must be knowing, she visited Tirupati when the Vice Chancellor's conclave was there. And she is our past student of Armed Forces Medical College who has reached to the level of being with WHO. Coming to Madhuri Kanitkar, she was Lieutenant General. Now she is holding the position of, after her retirement, she is the Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra Health University. And the others, Lieutenant General Punita Arora and Air Marshal Padma Bandyopadhyay, all of them are associated with armed forces. I am proud to say that they have excelled in their own fields of specialties as well as in the administration. Now, recently, all of you know that Niti Aayog initiative, they have felicitated 75 women for their contribution towards Sashakt or Samarth Bharat and women transforming India. Niti Aayog initiative it was. And some of them, I just was thinking about some of the names because it was recently in papers, like Ardra Chandramouli from ITA Biochemicals, Aditi Avasthi, and Radhika Batra and Ramya S. Murthy. That shows, just now Madam was also talking about that we are honoring, we are giving awards to women, but that is a very, very good initiative from all the spheres where they get motivated and then they think of doing something further. But in spite of all this, all of us should agree that with equal output, equal work, academic qualifications and experience, we continue to face many challenges at work, which cannot be denied. Unsatisfactory work atmosphere. You will not believe that every day we have hundreds of women employees at all levels, right from attendant to the super specialty doctors. But you must see to it that they are comfortable. The work atmosphere should be comfortable, congenial, and we should give them opportunities. With limited opportunities, they get demotivated. I am only talking about health sector, but this holds good for every field in science and technology. And it goes without being said that we all have certain amount of work-related stress. It all depends upon which type of personality we belong to. But this stress is in some inherent, in some it is seen, and some of them, they are visible and they need to get medical aid. At this juncture, I want to tell all of you, with my experience of 50 years, being in my third innings, I must tell you, all of us, women, we have only 24 hours like others. But you must accept that we work 36 hours in 24 hours. And this definitely, because we look around us, we take every minute detail into cognizance, whether it is workplace or at home, and stress is bound to be there. But my advice to you is, see that that stress is released in a proper, good way so that you can continue with your work and then you can do wonders, I must tell you. I keep on telling a younger faculty, all of you are young enough, and I want to tell you that don't be stressed. Stress is part and parcel of our life. Nobody is without stress, but how you take stress, how positively you deal with stress is very important. And during pandemic, that's what I kept on counseling people, that don't get stressed. Stress will lead you to more problems. So don't invite health problems and work in a comfortable and congenial atmosphere. Coming to some of the young scientists, some young innovators, I must tell you that when I saw these photographs in the newspaper, I was more than happy because these are few of them who thought out of box. They came out with initiatives, innovations, and they're doing very well in their own fields. So I thought I must put up there just to motivate you. Each one of you can think, I was just listening to Madam who said that the students in school have to be motivated. They have to see, they have to go to a lab, they have to see women working. So these are few women. I won't say that they are large in numbers, but there are women who you can look upon. I talked about the women in defense. I'm talking about women who are in civil, but doing the work which is really appreciable. Like I just gave examples. Sunita Maheshwari is into teleradiology services. You know that with technology catching up, each and every one of us should update our knowledge, should be able to catch up with what is going on, and we should be tech savvy. So these are the people who have motivated others, who have gone ahead, who are doing very well. And I think you must be knowing Anu Acharya, who has this company MapMed Genome, who started at Hyderabad Airport COVID testing lab. Similarly, Meena Ganesh, she has started home healthcare company for geriatric care, chronic diseases, post-operative care, and mental health. Nirja Birla. I have only quoted some of the names, but you must become one of them. The wish from your side should be that whatever you are learning in science and technology or in medical field or healthcare, you must be able to get that fire in the belly. That will come only when you see people working, when you talk to people, when your exposure is wide and you want to do something. Otherwise, any amount of motivation does not help. So these are few examples I just gave. All of you know that there is a first ever self-made Kiran Mazumdar Shah, who is MD of Biocon. You know what is, I am talking in her own words, which I read. I had to overcome many credibility hurdles. So this only shows that we have to see to it that we get over these obstacles. And we are capable. We can do it. There's nothing that a woman cannot do. Once she decides, she can reach to the top. Only thing is, unfortunately, we have a glass ceiling on above us. So that glass ceiling is the one which is preventing us to go higher and higher. But all of us need to try. Now coming to what we should do, we were all the time talking about urban population, urban women. What about rural women? What are our efforts? We have to make each and every one of you listening to me in your own field. I take you as faculty, as research scholars, as students. Please think that we have to make efforts to reach them. That is the most neglected and ignored, even now, on this day. Because I must tell you that the National Medical Commission, earlier the erstwhile Medical Council of India, now has included in the competency-based medical curriculum that every medical student has to be given 5 families. So I must tell you that this will definitely help them to develop a bond, rapport with the families and to take care of the families. These families are from the rural area. So please see to it that you help the persons whom you know who are in the rural areas, who need education. And please remember that lack of education increases health inequalities, and it becomes a barrier to seek medical advice and making medical choices. So who will break that? Each one of us have to try. I heard in the first instance that Madam said that I am from a village, but where has she reached? So you must try. You must try and educate. You must go to their level. I always remember Swami Vivekananda. He always talks about student. He says that as a teacher, if you can go down to the level of the student to make him understand, make him reproduce, and make him evaluate himself in the examination, then only you can be a good teacher. So with that, and also you will agree with me, these girls who are there in rural areas, many of them today, even today, they get married very early and they start with their families. And they're either not even primary school, some of them, some primary school, some reach the level of the high school. So it is up to us how we motivate them, how we see to it that they get interested and they go further into the courses in science and technology or health sector, and they do well, and further they think of going further and further. That is where there is a block. I see many of them when I talk to them, they say, what are you? I have completed BSc, I have completed BA, I have completed MSc, but they are all at home. Wherever I find that they are sitting at home, I tell them, please think that you are also working at par with your husband. Contribute, and that will rise your level of you. That will give you number one, financial freedom, and number two, by contributing to the family, you will be bringing up your children in the best possible way. If you are in the lower class, lower economic class, or economically weak, or backward class, you can certainly go up further. And then, and many of the women, they do it. And I must give examples of where the women, when they could not study, they saw to it that their children study, they come up to the level where they help thousands of people with their own ventures. For this, we need to create awareness programs, and the advances in technology makes it possible. All of you know, during the pandemic, the teachers, the students, parents, all of us had to learn the online teaching methods, online telemedicine, and contacting the doctor, consulting the doctor. All this was possible only because of technology. Technology is the one which makes us come closer. Like today, I am talking to you. I could see you. I could hear you. It's only because of technology. That and another thing that is required, very much required, is the rural women. Many of them are becoming confident, but still they are not very confident when you talk to them. They're still shy. So you need to increase confidence of rural Indian women by training them. I am here talking because there are many laboratories where we require women. And especially during COVID time, we wanted the tests to be carried out in the labs, and we trained many of the women as healthcare providers. Now, coming to a lot of innovative ideas that come up, which I appreciated. In our own institution, we have what is called Yashoda Human Milk Bank. And I must thank our management, Mrs. Bhagishri Patil, who is our pro-chancellor, who gave us whatever is required to establish that milk bank. And we have a faculty from pediatric department who takes care of that. But the very noble thought is the lactating mothers donating breast milk to the needy newborns. It's a very noble deed. We have a function to felicitate these mothers. But I must tell you the satisfaction we have by employing a lot of women come here, and we have been donated a bank which goes to places, various places, giving them or handing over the breast milk that has been pasteurized, that is with us in the bank. And I am really touched with that. The second thing is we have, I just went through that, one mind, multiple mission, the good champion. This is come, I think, in Indian Express. Pallavi Jain, who has what is called Krishna Diagnostics in Mumbai. What she did during COVID time, she wanted to tap every untouched area. So she started first COVID-19 test bus in Mumbai and Pune, and she provides quality healthcare at affordable prices. Not only that, I didn't put it here, but she has employed all the unemployed drivers during the pandemic because nobody had work to do. And she ran many ambulances as buses to reach the untouched areas and to see that the test is being carried out and the patients are taken care of. My salutes to her. Then one of the premier institutions in Pune, Symbiosis, they started a mobile medical van for rural digital literacy labs. So these are the things which one can think, even in science and technology, a lot of avenues are there for you to think out of box and come out with solutions, come out with your own innovations, and then see to it that it reaches the masses. For this, in primary health centers, PHCs, we need to train the women to cultivate the skills. Skill training, skills cultivation is very, very important. And the job in primary health centers is in three grounds or three topics. One, make them confident, make them do public speaking, divide them into small groups, and make them talk on any topic. Not only health, but that will make them bold. Then two, see that they develop leadership qualities, whichever area they choose. Then, like just now I was listening to Madam, decision making, autonomy and decision making through simulations. During pandemic, there was no one-to-one interactions. So simulations to diagnose, to treat, and also simulating a phone call, contacting the urban doctor, and transportation. All these simulations are the ones, even in the medical field, in the hospitals, we have a lot of mannequins on which we teach the doctors, the residents, the students, the interns, but that is only to help them to acquire skills. and education at home during the pandemic, online, distance education. And this, I must tell you, when I'm talking about primary health centers, recently for the International Women's Day, International Women's Day was celebrated at one PSC close by to Pune. I was invited there as chief guest. I went there, but I must tell you, I went with the intention that I'll be seeing 50-50 or 60-40, but many of them were women. That is number one. Number two, we are used to, at least I am used to seeing sarpanchs who are male, village sarpanch. But when I was felicitating, there were 9 women sarpanchs who came, who are contributing to the health of the community in and around that place, that is Alandi, the villages that are there. Each one of them are doing really a very good work by motivating the villages women and also helping them, and then seeing to it that they come up in their lives. So community healthcare lies with women. Health education training as caregivers is very, very important, because we find now senior citizens, I am talking about senior citizens, at home, the children are busy, and with especially online working, they have no time. They're at home, but they have no time. We need caregivers. So you have to see to it that these are the females, these are the women who can be given health education. You have to see to it that it boosts first her self-esteem, and towards this there are many steps taken by the government, National Commission for Women, National Mission for Empowerment of Women, and health empowerment, especially the mission Indradhanush, National Nutrition Mission. All those things are there. But apart from that, at individual level, as I say, I keep telling our students also, please don't wait for doing anything in groups. Each one of you try to do, even when you go home, think of helping somebody. Even if you help 1 or 2 people, that's more than enough, because you will have the satisfaction that you have helped someone who was in need and made him understand, and made her understand, made her go up further in the ladder. Now, COVID-19 pandemic taught us many lessons. We had to compromise in academics as teachers, students, and parents. As I told you, we all have become tech savvy. Yes, now, earlier I didn't know Zoom, I didn't know Teams, Microsoft Teams, and I didn't know how to share the slides. But all of this has become very, very easy. And most important, we learned, because with nobody at home, only you have to manage balancing home and work at home, both at home, and self-dependency. You never depended on anybody. You could not depend. You were not allowed to depend. So you had to depend on your own. And health became priority during COVID-19 pandemic. I must tell you that I must salute all the healthcare frontline workers. I have seen all of them here. It must be the same, and it is the same, and it will be the same everywhere, all over the world, all over our country. They work relentlessly. I know them, I've seen them, and many of them had become positive. Many of them had been quarantined, but they came out, they again joined. And I remember one doctor who did not stay with the family, stayed separately as long as she was on COVID duty, saying that I do not want to see that my family members are affected. They become COVID positive. I appreciated that. We learned to accept. Otherwise, I remember that the moment we lose a family member, we had so many days of rituals. We used to go and attend the funeral. But I must share, it is very sad. We had to accept the grief of our kith of kin, losing them. We could not even go and see them. We could not even meet the family members. We could not go out in the public. But all of this, we did it. We did it with that vigor, with that zeal, with that enthusiasm that as women force, we have overcome whatever obstacles that have come during this pandemic, and still we are putting up with it. I must tell you that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. We should see to it that I was taught when I was in school, I am talking about my school in Tirupati only. We had an excellent English teacher. He used to say, "Woman, thy name is jealousy." So we must break that and see to it that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. We are strongest when we cheer each other on. This is a quote by Serena Williams. To sum up, I must say that women's health, or I must say women's health, needs priority. Every housewife, every scientist, every doctor, every nurse, every social worker, frontline worker, and every woman should think that her health is priority. Then only things will move in a positive way. Please remember, women live longer, but women live longer with more unhealthy years with aging than as compared to Y chromosome, I must say. Empowerment, hence it is our duty to see to it that we empower, we see to it that we have a healthy lifestyle, we are healthy, and we empower women in healthcare to move women's health forward. Then only the entire women population in our country, unless we do this, each one of us, then we cannot say that we have 48% educated and only 14% are doing it, or 60% are in the healthcare and 40% are not there. Each one of us should take it as a challenge and then see to it that there is gender equality in all the spheres. Why only in the healthcare? Times are changing. Yes, there is a shift in favor of women. Majority in healthcare, but they are underrepresented in leading positions. Very few. As compared to previously, in between it is really increasing, and now it is further increased. But we must promote their career development. And the greatest incentive for women's health, I must tell you, wherever she is working, especially where the working conditions are not congenial, if you see to it that our career development is helped by your contribution, you are helping, giving a lending hand or helping hand, that is the greatest incentive. Then she becomes immediately positive. I talk to my faculty. After 5 minutes, I tell them that, please smile. You smile, forget your worries. Everybody has worries. Who doesn't have? But forget it. Go ahead, think, have a goal, and have an aim. Then only you can go further in life. And at the same time, don't neglect the family. Family is equally important. Take care of the children, take care of your family. I quote Swami Vivekananda. I always quote Swami Vivekananda. The best thermometer to the progress of a nation is its treatment of its women. There is no chance for the welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. To conclude, I request all of you, act early, wherever you are, whichever field you are, in whichever field you are, wherever you are working, but get a regular checkup done. Don't let your body's symptoms turn into missed calls. You will regret later. Follow all COVID-19 protocols. Even if people say that you don't have to wear the mask, you don't have to use the sanitizer, you don't have to maintain a physical distance, I advise all of you to do that. Now, today you are having a program offline, so many times you are having, but maintain the distance. Stay healthy and stay safe. A big thank you from the entire, I must say, the healthcare fraternity. And I must thank all of you, the organizers of today's event, as part of this Azadi Amrit Mahotsav celebrating Vigyan Utsav. I thank, first of all, Aparna Madam. I thank Vice Chancellor. I thank the dignitaries from the Padmavati Vishwavidyalaya, Professor Pasala Girbani, who was earlier associated with Padmavati Vishwavidyalaya, Professor Mamata, Registrar, Professor Uma Maheshwari Devi, Professor Kalarani, and all the faculty members and the guest speakers for today for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Madam. I really touched upon the gaps existing both in the educated sector and the rural women sector. And the disparity you are showing is quite alarming, and we need to focus on that. And I need to share with you all that one of the main objectives of Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya is the emancipation of women. Actually, we are representing with 80% of students from rural background, and we are trying hard to empower them in this manner. That is the contribution we are trying to make with the support of our state government, including our caste time to time, and higher education of Andhra Pradesh. Thank you so much. I could not recap your talk because of the time limitation. So I am going forward. Thank you, madam, for being with us. Next, I will request Mrs. Mangalamani Nali, the polar women, to elaborate on a glimpse of evolution of technology in space and her journey. In the process, I will briefly introduce her, who worked as scientist at the National Remote Sensing Center, Indian Space Research Organization, which we are very familiar as ISRO, Department of Space, Government of India. As I mentioned, she is very popular worldwide as polar woman, being the first woman to spend over a year in Antarctica. Really grateful to you, madam. On behalf of the women, we congratulate you. And madam is a Bachelor of Technology from JNTU, Master of Engineering she has done in Internet Science Engineering in 2003 from Indian Institute of Sciences. And she got registered representing empowering women, registered as PhD scholar in Andhra University in the geoengineering sector. That is how we got madam with us. And madam worked in Department of Science for nearly 40 years at various positions, starting from Sriharikota, Nellore, started in 1982, worked as operations and maintenance of telecommand systems for communication and remote sensing satellites. And madam worked in ISRO Technology Tracking and Command Network, Bangalore, in 85 on installation, operation and maintenance of upgraded telecommand systems. She worked in NRSC Hyderabad since 1998 as hardware designer, development and installation, front end hardware to extract INS data from the airborne multispectral scanner, IRSP3, MOS data handling system. And she has authored 5 papers on her Antarctica experience, where she spent, as I mentioned, over a year. And madam is also a life member of the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, Indian Society of Remote Sensing, as well International Microelectronics Packaging Society India chapter. She is a proud recipient of President's Guide with a certificate from the Honorable President in 1976 to 77, and award of Polar Women, recognition rather, by Station Leader Bharati Station, Women of Excellence Award 2019 by Institute of Public Enterprise. And we are very happy to mention on behalf of Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya that recently, a month ago, during March, as a mark of International Women's Day celebrations, we are proud to confer madam with Padma Medha Award, which is the recent award madam has received. Thank you so much, madam, for being with us, and I leave the screen to you, madam. And please help us in maintaining the time, madam. I'm sorry to bother, but still we have to adjust the time. Thank you.
Sure. I try to maintain the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Madam, good morning, madam. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, can I go ahead now?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you, madam, for this kind introduction of me. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of your celebration. And I thank the AP Cost and the Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya Women's University, who are the state partners for this to celebrate this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav with a theme, Women in Science and Technology and Science and Technology for Women. And I thank you and I congratulate you, especially on this occasion, for putting all your efforts and conducting this program as Vigyan Utsav on this day. And I also want to thank you for the privilege you have given me to be a part of your celebration. Okay. So before I go to the topic, glimpses of evolution of technology in space and my journey in this, I want to thank God for my parents. See, all this time, many of the speakers have spoken that women have to be educated in science and technology, on the STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, where we find very few people. But I really want to thank my parents who are so encouraging. Both my parents, they were BA graduates working in Accountant General's office, but they wanted their children, we are 6 siblings, but they gave us a free hand saying that you study whatever you want. So, okay, let me tell you, I'm proud to say that we have 2 doctors, 3 engineers, and 1 entrepreneur. And all because our parents, they supported us, encouraged us. And also, even after our marriages, let me say, after my marriage, I completed my master's and then also registered for my PhD. And today, even my son and daughter, they still encourage me, Mommy, are you concentrating on your PhD work? How far has it come? So that is the kind of encouragement. And that, I think, because we show the interest to pursue the career or pursue the subjects, whatever we want. So basically, it comes from within us, and then there are family members who support us to go ahead. So coming to this space journey, while I was in school, I think about in 8th class or so, NASA has launched some Mars missions, and that information was coming in newspapers. So I was so fascinated. I used to keep the paper cutting in a 200 pages notebook and then follow it up, like how far they come and what are they doing. And it so fascinated me. It has instilled an interest in me to pursue such a career. And thankfully, yes, I got into Indian Space Research Organization, which is on par with NASA. And there my journey started. So what is all the space sector about in the space organization? We have 3 segments, especially one is the space segment where all the spacecrafts and the maintenance of them come. The ground segment where there is a preparation for that, and also once the spacecraft is launched, we have to maintain the spacecraft in orbit and then keep collecting the data and keep using the data. And there's a user community which uses this data for the societal benefits. I really go quickly fast. So what are the major elements in space sector? One is the transportation system, the launch vehicles, the satellites with the different payloads of different resolutions. And in the space segment, when we talk about the satellites, there are so many other elements which come into picture, the power supplies, the attitude controls, the telemetry systems. And in the ground system, we have what is called as the mission control, where we continuously monitor the health of the satellite. And using this housekeeping data, we keep the satellite in orbit, in its proper orbit without any drift. And then having said that, we have to take the payload data, whatever is there in the satellite, and then process it and distribute it to the users. Otherwise, there's no point having a satellite there and not using it, right? So we have a user community, which are the general public, which use the very mobile phone, you have it in your hands, it's connected through satellite, right? And also there are some e-governance sectors where they use the satellite data, and also the academia for using this satellite data for the research and for improvement of natural resources, right? So we have come a long way. I joined in NRS, in ISRO in Sriharikota in 1982. And 1983, this SLV-3 was launched. At that time, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was the project director for that. And we had a successful launch. and it was a small satellite, 40 kg weight satellite. But all along, we have been developing on our launch vehicles and also upon the satellites to have more weight, more payloads. And finally, this time we have come up with GSLV Mark III to launch geosynchronous satellites. SLV3 was for low Earth orbit satellites, and PSLV was for polar satellites launch vehicles and geosynchronous launch vehicles. So mostly I'll be talking about the satellites launched by polar satellite launch vehicles, which are the Earth observation satellites here. So how is it? How is the growth in launch sector? When I joined, there was a launch once in 2 years, once in 3 years, as you can see. But as time passed, see, it was in 92 I joined, and here a launch in a year, a launch in a couple of years, or a launch in 3 years like that. But now, 3 decades further, there are many launches. So much so, in 1 year, we had 9 launches and 8 launches. And of course, this pandemic, it has taken a toll on our launches of launching satellites also, and it has come down here. But yes, and most of the launches which we have done from SHAR, 89% success. They thank for all the efforts of many, many engineers and technologists and administrators and logistics support. Every bit of support has gone into a successful launch. And even today, when a new launch takes place, it's like a new one. Though we have gained so much of experience, but still we cross our fingers and say, God, let this launch be successful. That is the type of excitement we have, and also the anticipation we have because of the efforts of the total team which goes into that. So everyone wants it to be a success. And of course, the whole India wants it, right? So we are all part of this journey. And what are the satellites we launch? There are different satellites we launch in this. The communication satellites, like I said, the mobile phones you use, it's from the communication satellites. The Earth observation satellites is to monitor the natural resources. The navigation, where the airborne or seaborne navigation, they use these systems. The space science, the interplanetary, the Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, all this data is being used for this. And there are some experimental satellites and student satellites, small satellites. In fact, we encourage the universities, the students to come up with their ideas to build satellites and to manage their own satellites. So that creates a lot of interest, and confidence also is built up in the students, saying that they too can be a part of this big venture and move ahead. So even in the observation satellites, we have different resolutions. We have come up a long way, starting from low resolution to mid resolution to high resolution satellites. So I have supported almost 30 missions throughout my journey in the space sector and different satellites like Earth observation satellites. They have again optical imaging and microwave imaging. So I've been part of all those things. And whom do we give this data to? There are the users in different sectors using this in agriculture, geology, ocean studies, water studies, renewable energy, the solar energy and the wind energies, the e-governance, the rural developments, and all these things, forest, weather, land resources, urban development. And we regularly have the national meets, and the data is presented, and also the feedback is taken. And most of the time, our satellites are designed according to the needs of the users. When a user comes up with a requirement that they need such and such a data, once there is awareness and they know what type of data they want, and they can put up a proposal, and we can have such a payload on the satellite and then send it. Now, coming to the ground segment, this is where I mostly worked. So in my initial days, the ground segment consists of, one is the mission management here, and the other one is actually collecting the payload data, processing it, and then archiving and disseminating it. So my initial days were in ISTRAC, that is ISRO Telemetry, Telecommand Tracking and Telecommand Network. So there we used to monitor the health of the satellite and all the housekeeping data, whether everything is proper or not. And then we send the commands to correct them if it is necessary. And there are some periodical maintenance things which we have to do, and we used to do them. And it was a 24/7 work. And those days in the 80s, 82 to 88, I was there. Those days, there were very few ladies, almost in a strength of about 30 to 40. We were only 4 ladies. I remember one, Mrs. Raghamma, she was there when I joined, and she took me around and showed me all the systems and what they do and how to handle. And also there were other couple of ladies, Sharada and Rajeshwari, yes. And it was, yeah, difficult but exciting, because soon after college, joining into such an organization and working 24/7, sometimes, yeah, it took a toll on our health because our bodies were not used to such a routine. But then gradually we got accustomed with a lot of rest, and because 24/7, when we are observing this, we have to be very alert, both mentally and physically. So having proper rest and having proper grip upon our systems, all this will help us to maintain it properly. And then later on, I come to National Remote Sensing Center, which is again under ISRO only. And here we acquire the payload data. Once the launch is successful, then the work of both ISTRAC and NRSS starts. So we have to maintain the satellite's health in the orbit for its mission's life. It could be 10 years, 15 years. Okay. So for every day, every pass, we have to keep monitoring that. And the payload, because that is the reason we have sent those satellites up, right? To collect the payload data and then use it. So we have to keep collecting the payload data and then process it, qualify it, archive it, and also distribute it. Now we are talking so much about this climate change. It's a global issue which is talked about. So how do we detect a change? Unless you have some data earlier, you will not know what change has taken place, right? So it's a huge task to collect, to process, and to archive this data, which is being done here in NRSC. And yes, I've been a part of this in different stages, in different capacities, and in different fields. And here also, yes, when we have joined initially, there were a few ladies, but today, I should say, we have quite a strength of ladies in our office. And yes, in the data acquisition sector, we have to travel about 60 kilometers from Hyderabad to Shadnagar, where the data is acquired. And there were ladies who were traveling that distance, and then early in the morning to late night with small kids. But still, I think the catch is the work and family life balance. And definitely, with the support of the family, we can do all these things, and we have been doing all these things. Like I said, it was 24/7 duty, and then, but it was very interesting and challenging, I should say. When we know that our presence there is a must, because once, if we can't collect that data or monitor our satellite during, it'll be visible only for 15 minutes in a pass. If you lose that, it's lost forever. So we understand the importance of the work we are handling, and we'll be very attentive and alert and focused. So our work culture is also that way. Like, we have to work as a team. If one is not able to do, the other will be supporting. So the work culture in ISRO is so good that we all support one another, and this no blame game. though there were a few missions which have failed, you would have seen no one blames anyone, but we all get down, sit together, and then see what went wrong and how it can be corrected. So that is the culture with which this is thriving on. And the inclusiveness. Yes, though there are few ladies to start with, but there are people coming in and ladies also are being taken in. And there's a good culture. Okay, there could be some stray events here and there where it becomes difficult for women to work, but still they're welcomed. So I think that has helped a lot of ladies in handling our duties. Like even in this Mars mission, you would have seen so many ladies working together, but for the support of the family, again, I stress this, but for the support of the family, we cannot put our full concentration and focus on the work we are doing and make this thing successful. So I really want to thank all family members of every one of us who has made us to put our best foot forward and to be a meaningful contributor to the nation. And coming to this NRIC here, like Madam already told that I've been a part of a design and development team for the initial navigation system of the airborne sensor, which and also of a P3 MOS data handling system, which takes the navigation data and then processes it to generate a better product. And also we have this ground control point library where we have to correct the satellite data product for a geocoded one or a precision one, for which we use this data. Once all this data is collected and it is processed, before giving it to the user, it has to be evaluated. And even before that, during every launch for every mission, there is this quality evaluation which has to be done for the platform stability of the satellite and also the sensor's response. Before flying, there will be a battery of tests done on all these things, which will be, we also will be a part of that. But after after the launch, we never know how the scenario changes. So again, we have to evaluate all those things. And this initial phase, what we call, where all these tests are done in consultation with all the mission people will be involved, both from space segment, user segment, and the ground segment. And then finally, we see to it that whatever specifications or whatever expectations were there before we flew the satellite are met. And then it will be freezed and then it will be released to the user community. So again, quality evaluation becomes an important part where the feedback is given to the mission and the designers from us. And I have been a part of this for a very long time, handling so many missions again there. And during this time, now with so many satellites, I told you, now the frequency of launching satellites has become so much and we have started getting so much data. It's very difficult for us to have it collected from one place in Hyderabad. Like you see, everyone wants everything very fast and huge data volumes, huge data rates. So all this, but to have this data, for our geographical position, we will not be able to collect it. So we have a station in Antarctica where all the polar orbits converge. So for any satellite, there will be 14 orbits per day. So out of that, at least 10 to 12 orbits will be visible in polar region, whereas only 2 to 3 in the visible light will be visible in Indian region. So to take the advantage of collecting more data, we have established a station in Antarctica. And just establishing is not enough, right? We have to maintain it. We have to keep collecting it. And again, that's a 24/7 duty. Continuously, we have to keep doing it. So I'll come to that later. And then towards the end, I was in this International Organization for Standardizations, We have been doing auditing and the quality assurance of all the systems and the processes of different entities in NRSC. So when I started, it was just from telemetry and telecommanding, then a whole circle now, and with all the systems involved. But I should say it was an interesting journey, a challenging journey, and an exciting journey. So when I started, I said telecommanding. It used to be with valves, the vacuum tube valves. I don't know how many children nowadays learn about these things. The very concept, of electron charges moving with amplification. So the first generation vacuum tubes, there were of a size of about a 160-liter fridge for 100 watts power to generate 100 watts power. But the transition has occurred. So by the time we came, now it is in a small chip. And the total system would be of a small PC, the size of that. Still supporting about 100 watts of power with all the cooling systems and all. So I've come a long way working with all these things. And in the hardware design, when I said I've used this for pre-processing, the signal before it's actually processed, the satellite data is actually processed. I've used the ICs and FPGAs, ASICs in my designs. Data processing. These are the PDP-11s. I should say I did use it. This is the keyboard where we enter the exact number of the data to boot the system itself. Such huge systems, and then we migrated to microvacs. And then when I was doing ISP3, it was in the DEC systems, smaller systems. During this time, we worked with a board where we can extract data, part of the data, and pre-process it. That's where I've used both the EEPROMs and the ICs, and later on also the Altera hardware design, where the FPGAs were programmed and then freezed into ASICs. And I should say it was a real challenge, because I learned tubes and transistors in my college, and then when I'm coming here, there are a lot more changes, a lot more technology developments, which first of all I have to learn, equip myself, and then work on them. Here I want to mention one thing. At one point of time when we were designing this, there are three states: the high state, the low state, and the high impedance state. So in a logic, there is a high and low, and people design a circuit and all. But how do we handle this high impedance state? And at that point of time, there were people who have gone for training and then come back, and I was new in this, but I had to have one situation where I had to handle this high impedance situation. And people said, people have tried and then failed. You can't do that. You find some other way of handling it. But then I didn't want to give up. I have gone through the manuals and then saw and tried it out. Hooray, yes, I was successful. And even to this day, this design concept is being used for all the other future missions. So I think we shouldn't shy away from challenges. That's what I want to tell. And yes, there are opportunities which we can look into and then move ahead. What are the different types of products? I told you low resolution, high resolution, mid resolution, and all. So these are some of the products which we work on. And these products, before we actually give it to the users, they are evaluated. See, if I say Hyderabad is in such and such a latitude, my Hyderabad should not be shown in some other place. So we correct all those offsets, we give this feedback, and then give a proper product. So this is the feedback which we give to the mission in the initial phases. And once things are frozen, we start serving the user community. And then, like I said, users themselves give us the request of what type of data they want. So we have gone for this microwave data also. So for this, see, these are all optical data. If there is sunlight, only then we can get these products. And if it's cloudy, nothing can be seen. But then, especially during this disasters, floods and all, we want to assess the floods, but most of the time it is during the cloudy seasons where the places are getting flooded. It's raining and places are getting flooded, and we want to have the data. And when it's cloudy, we can't even see the ground from the satellite. So this is one area, the microwave data, where cloud is not a hindrance, and then we can get the data. So this is called all-weather satellite. Even in the night, we can image the Earth and then get the data, and this can be used for our disaster managements and for any other purposes like mineral research. Most other applications have come up from this data also. So again, from opticals, low resolution, to the microwaves, the hyperspectral data, which has many number of bands where we can have, if you see the spectrum, the different objects, different elements, data can be seen in different bandwidths, and then it can be used. So we have come a long way, all these things. And yes, I've been a part of all this. Now I said, why Antarctica? Actually, these are the polar orbits. And if you see, in India, only about 2 of them will be seen at a time. If you see the circle. But then in the Antarctic region, because all these converge, more number of visible passes are there, enabling us to have more control and to monitor more and to manage well. Okay, how did we do before this Antarctica? We had to take the help of Svalbard or Tromsø stations here, which would cost us a huge amount. So now we are self-sustained. And when the opportunity came up, because now this station is established and we want people to come there, yeah, I have volunteered. And people really ask me, how could you go there in such a weather, in such challenging conditions? And let me tell you, once we are in Antarctica, except for 3 months, November, December, Jan, and maybe Feb, there is no other coming or going transportation, either from mainland to Antarctica or Antarctica to mainland. If anything happens, like Madam was telling, we have to take it in our stride, because we can't reach them, they can't reach us. Such was the theme. But let me tell you, I took my courage, trusting in the love of Lord Jesus Christ, who gave his life for me. And with his sure assurance that he said, I am with you, even to the end of the world. I took it literally. And then I dared to venture into this Antarctica, the windiest, the coldest, the driest, and the most isolated place on this earth. There were, criticisms coming my way. Why do you want to go there at this age? Do you want to go there? What are you going to gain from it? But no. The work, because I worked both in ISTRAC and in NRSC, there also we had to handle those works there, and also extra communications. I know it would be interesting and very satisfying, because I know I'll be doing a meaningful work there. Not that I didn't do any meaningful work here, but that was more challenging. So I went there, and yes, we have to keep the systems free of any faults or defects. And for that, we have to do some preventive maintenance and corrective maintenance. In our expedition, I think we had only about, of all the 403 days, about 12 hours of system downtime. But otherwise, there was no fault. Like we have been maintaining here. This is me greasing the antenna. So just because I'm a lady or of this big age, I never thought I shouldn't do anything. When I'm interested in a thing, I thought it should be done and I will do it. And that's how I did it. And let me tell you, after I have come back, there were people who really thought, got the confidence to venture into this. I'll come to that later. What did we do there? And there we have all these systems. These are the communication systems. because once we collect the data from there, it has to be transferred to the mainland, for which we use this communication systems. And to monitor and maintain the satellites, we have the telemetry and telecommand systems here, and also the station control computer with the antenna control unit. And then the data ingest systems, the payload data, whatever is coming, we ingest the data and then store it, and then it will be sent to the mainland. So how are all these done? All the systems are IP based. So, and we have to handle it single-handedly. We were only 3 engineers there working, and each one in one shift. So 3 shifts, 15 days rotation. So we have to be familiar with all the systems and with all the functionalities. And we should be able to recognize in case there is a malfunction and look into those things. So we have to train up ourselves. And since all these are IP based and we have a universal time which we follow, these are all mostly automated. So the network and the timing systems, they become an important part of our operations there. For any reason, if a network fails, suppose the schedules have not come and the station computer is not uploaded with the schedules, then it's on our part, our duty to do it manually. So it's a continuous monitoring job for us, continuously to be alert there. And there are a few challenges we had to face technically also, but I'll not go into those things.
Right now, I'm standing on the frozen ocean. Greeting you from the ice continent Antarctica. Before going outside, we have to wear our polar clothing to keep ourselves warm from the severe cold. Enjoy the amazing auroras.
Yeah, that was the video which was made by BBC while I was there in Antarctica. So they requested, and then I thought in a concise way, this tells the story of what we have done there and how it is there. Okay, so for the budding women scientists or technologists or engineers or anyone for that matter, let me say there are a lot of things which are challenging and exciting. And we only have to take a step forward. Men may physically be strong, but we ladies, with all our multitaskings, we are emotionally strong. And I think we should take advantage of that. And whatever career we choose, I think we should give it a try. And unless we take that step, we will not know how easy or how hard it is for us to do that. And once you have taken that step, go for it. There could be criticisms, there could be challenges, there could be obstacles. In your own smooth, sweet way, just go ahead. And most importantly, don't ever complain. See, complaining only breeds negativity, you know? And we just keep forgiving and move ahead, even if you have something. And whatever it is, take it as an opportunity. And then you'll never know what surprises you have and what joys you have. I should say I have taken up this challenge, and it was not easy for me even to go to Antarctica on the 3rd try. Like I've chased the challenge, okay? And then soon after the successful completion, I really cherished my challenge. So, dear friends, sky is not the limit now. There is much, much more beyond. And yes, put your sincere efforts and take every moment as an opportunity. Instead of complaining, take it as an opportunity, take it as a challenge, and you'll be surprised by the results you see. And I had a lot of mentors, so many ladies and gents helping me out, in the organization, also in the family way, which has helped me. And even now, I have my mother who's so prayerful and encouraging, and all my siblings, my husband, my children. So I think with all this support, all of us can do wonders. Thank you so much for this patience listening. And I want to thank all the organizers and all the dignitaries who are present here for giving me this opportunity and for listening patiently to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, madam. You just showed the power of women, and the take-home message you have given is do not shy away from challenges and chase it. So we really appreciate the report, and it is needed to the upcoming mentoring women. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I could not elaborate on more conclusions, but we thoroughly enjoyed. And thank you so much for sparing your valuable time under the rarest the challenges you have demonstrated. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
So I now take opportunity to introduce to you all Professor J. Vijayaratna, who is getting linked up from UK presently, actually representing from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. She is currently staying in UK. She is honorary professor of Andhra University College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Andhra University Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. With the teaching and research experience of over 38 years in pharmaceutical sciences, Madam has completed operating 5 national funding projects which have been received from UGC and EST, guided 38 PhDs during her career, and guided 100 MPharmacy students for their thesis work, filed and they got patented 3 patents in the field of pharmaceutical technology, which is really a rare achievement. Madam has published 108 research articles in the peer-reviewed journals, received AP State Best Teacher Award in 2018. During her career, she has served in several administrative positions such as Chairman Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Chairman Board of Studies, and Coordinator of Pharma D. The Pharma D is the most sought after courses now, and a member of Ethical Committee of King George Hospital, Visakhapatnam, and member Ethical Committee as well in Andhra University. Madam has won several prizes at national level in academics, won a prize in Skills Test 2010, and also national essay writing competition on the GATT agreement drug prices in India after 2005, being conducted both by pharmainfo.net, which is a Canadian online pharmacy journal. She is a life member of several national and international organizations. And to mention specifically, Madam is involved in conducting medical camps in villages, programs and competitions for women pharmacists. And I'm sure you will listen soon about one activity, that is power, from Madam. Madam, over to you, and I think you will help assistance in sharing your slides. And please, we are running far behind, over 40 minutes. I'm sorry to bother you, but please confine to time and complete if possible earlier to that, Madam. Thank you so much.
I'll try to do that, madam. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Can you see my screen, madam? Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
No, madam.
Yes, yes.
Yes, it is visible.
Not yet, madam. You are visible, not your shared screen.
Okay, then. Okay, I request you to show the PPT. I request you to show the PPT. I'll talk. Now you are showing. Can I talk?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, madam. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So it is hard to be a woman, right? Because we have to work twice do the work of man to achieve the same goal, and we have to work really hard. Please keep moving the slides so that I can quickly give the talk. Please keep moving the slides. Okay, so my job from the beginning was to make the students strong, both men and women. And that I want to show. And how I did that, I want to show. How I benefited from WO's fellowships, I wanted to show. So please keep that on. Please keep the slide. Please keep the slide. So, how I participated in an organization called Power, I want to show. Next slide, please. So modern India is a land of opportunities. I want to stress a little bit on this. There is gender equality under law, no question. There is gender equality in opportunities, no question. But gender equality is not there in outcomes. Outcomes, it is not there. Why? This is because women are facing more challenges, hurdles, and barriers as they go up the ladder of their career. Next slide, please. So I spent, next slide, 8 years I spent in making students strong in so many ways, in teaching them, in making them do research, in making them excel in academics and all that. I used to encourage students to go to conferences and participate in competitions. I used to take them to several medical camps where students learn to interact with doctors, with patients, and with different types of patients, and to do the work in the healthcare field. Next slide. I used to take them to industries also. Next slide. Here you are seeing two images of our participation in medical camps in villages. I focused a lot on villages because rural health situation, rural economic and social situation is much worse than the type of situation in the urban. So here you are seeing two slides of our camps, and you are on the left you see one people in the attending to our camp. On the right you see our students and one of our faculty, Raghavalu, working. Next slide, please. So here you get, next slide. Here you again you see medical camps. So you please see that our colleagues are involved, our students are involved in doing patient counseling. That's how we motivated and encouraged our students to learn, to interact with people, to deliver their role in the healthcare field. Next slide, please. So this is my association with Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalayam, where I was asked to participate in seminars and where I expressed our progress in the field of science and technology. Next slide, please. So this is the photo showing many of my scholars and some of the students attending a conference. Next slide, please. So this is a slide in which I want to give a thank you to the Department of Science and Technology, where I am showing this is obtained from my principal. This shows a list of all the scholars who took WSA, Inspire, WSB, and several other fellowships from DST. Two of them, Bhavani and Harini, worked with me for their PhD. Now, each one of these 8 students took roughly on an average 30 to 35 lakhs as a fellowship in their career. I think apart from the grant to the equipment and all that. So this is the way DST has given a lot of push to the work in science and technology in our Andhra University. Next slide, please. So here I'm showing WSA. So this I want to show is the beginning of the advantage we took from the women's fellowships that is available. You see in this picture, one of my scholars, Bhavani, she got WSA. She bought a lot of equipment to this department, and she developed and evaluated by optimization techniques, bromphenic ophthalmic nano suspension. So this was a beginning in so many senses. Because of the equipment that she bought, our department could do a lot of work, especially under me. Many other scholars, many MPharm students could take up topics which involved novel drug delivery development, and which is a good contribution to the field of science and technology. Then they also could utilize, because they were encouraged in so many ways, financially and otherwise, they could work with optimization techniques. As you must know, today, quality drug development has to be done by a design known as quality by design, which requires software, learning of software, and using of software. All these things were possible with the push given by this WOSA fellowship. Next slide. Next slide, please. So this shows our team. Professor Ramanamurthy is in the beginning. I am there, Vijay Ratna, and then my colleague Sailaja, and our scholars, and Bhavani to my left, and other scholars to my right, and Harini in the background, another Inspire fellow. Next slide, please. So this shows again, I told about a number of scholars and MPharm students who did work using the equipment that was bought by this Bhavani, who bought probe sonicator and other equipments. So because of those equipment, ultrasonic bath and so many equipments, all these scholars could do work in the latest field of science and technology. Next slide. So this shows again my scholars who developed ethosomes, liposomes and all that, Sirisha, Pratap and so many other scholars who have done the work. Next slide, please. So these are the equipment bought by this scholar. Probe sonicator worth 2.5 lakhs, which was quite a lot for us in those days. A digital balance vacuum filter, a bacterial resistant membrane filter and diffusion cells. All these are the equipment that she bought. Next slide, please. So this is the Inspire Fellowship. That girl standing next to me is Harini, who got Inspire Fellowship, which is a very really prestigious type of Inspire Fellow. So she received this over 5 years. She developed what are known as Esinepine self-microemulsifying drug delivery systems. And she did pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetic studies and proved really good things. Next slide, please. So she introduced lipid-based drug delivery systems for esinepine maleate and introduced them into SMEDs. She developed this by statistical optimization, and she developed this, which is a good contribution to the field of technology. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I got another scheme under DST PERS to the tune of 3.7 lakh rupees. As a part of this, we developed and evaluated novel lectin functionalized drug delivery systems using natural biodegradable polymers of anti-tubercular drugs. Not under this, but by a previous scholar, one of my patents is on lectin coated mucoadhesive anti-tubercular drugs. That is a patent that I still hold, which is valid till 2027. Next slide, please. So then I would like to tell more about women empowerment to this audience. So I was made a member of Women's Council in our university. We met regularly. We discussed issues. Initially, I used to think what separate issues will be there for women. But when I joined, I realized the issues that are there. We used to discuss and we used to help. I, along with one of my colleagues in English department, I used to go to ladies' hostels, take them into gathering and help them in communication skills and in building their confidence. Next slide. So I joined then. This is what I want to tell you maximum about. Then with the push that I got in that Women's Council, when I was sure that yes, there is some work that needs to be done specially for women, then I thought, let me focus on women pharmacists in the field of pharmacy. So we developed we got into an association called Pharmacists Organization for Women Empowerment and Research. I joined this. This opened my horizons, and I was speaker in the sessions organized by Power in the IPCs in nearly 6 to 7 conferences we organized. This shows successful women in from different colleges all over the national spectrum. We organized and we did a few things. I'll tell you what we did just now. Next slide. So this slide shows, okay, I'll tell you, our idea was develop the competence, develop the strength, make them confident in the subject, let them grow very well. Knowledge is power. Let them be strong in their subject. And then as I went through the publications of the DST and all that, I realized way back in the 2000s itself, there was a committee appointed by the Department of Science under Kapil Sibal. A committee was appointed which recognized that there is what is called as a leaking pipeline, what people identified just now before me. Leaking pipeline means that yes, definitely there are a number of women in schooling, in higher education and all that, but as we move up, as they get into their career, so many people are not going up. There is in the hierarchy, as you go up, there are lesser and lesser women. They are not succeeding in their careers as they are succeeding in their studies. So my thought was, improve their level of competence, level of communication, level of confidence, and all that. So we focused on, we got into the conferences a number of people who succeeded in different sectors. Now this shows women from the drug regulatory field. These are people, highly successful people from the drug regulatory field. He is the drug regulator at the national level. He is also a drug regulator at the national level. So these are from the drug regulatory field. Some of them are our scholars. Next slide, please. So we got these people from different areas. He is a big industrialist. He is our scholar. She is from Sunila Dhaneshwar, a very successful academician in the field of academics. She is a highly successful academic person. So we got these women to into the conference and we got them to speak on two angles: their success in the field of science and technology or in the field that they have undertaken, and then their journey through life. What are the challenges they faced and how they faced them. Next slide, please. So these are my scholars who are there along with the speakers in the conference. The girls were highly motivated, inspired by seeing these people, and they got the confidence that if they have succeeded and exceeded their challenges, we can do that too. That is how they got inspired. This is the inspiration that I want to give. Now, the support and the help that we have to give is not now at the level of schooling or higher education, but when a woman starts her career, she should get the support of the society and the family and of the associations. And in so many ways, formal support is also required. So let me go to the next slide. So after showing all this to you, so this is what. So one thing we did, I'm trying to show you all this thing. One thing is did, every year we developed this type of a booklet called Women in Pharmacy Enhancing Capabilities. This is our emblem. So we gave so much material in this book and we distributed free to this to all the people who registered for the conference, and I sent soft copies to all the people. I sent a soft copy to Kalarani madam yesterday night. My idea is everybody should know the important information that is there in this booklet. We try to encourage students with this booklet. Next slide. So some of the details in the schemes might have changed below. I'm giving a brief review of some of the schemes. So this was done in 2015. Next slide. So there are many avenues for research schemes for women scientists. So women in science facts. So women employed in DST, DBT, CSIR. Only some other institutes have deliberately taken, intentionally taken more people. There are many institutes where they are not given good representation. Next slide. So there are many, these are DBT and ICMR are the best employers for women. Representation of women in other organizations is less than 15%. Achievements and recognition are not coming to women when they're open to both genders. This is a fact. Come on. When it is open to both genders, less women are getting it. Only when it is open to women only, people are getting it. We need to address this by increasing the excellence in the women in their performance, in their, my objective is always to enhance their participation. So maximum recognition for women is only in the field of medicine. Over the years, they are not getting enough awards. Next slide, please. So there are many schemes that are available only for women. So the Department of Science and Technology and all these institutes have clearly identified, yes, women are not getting them when they are open to both, and they devised schemes which are meant only for women. Next slide. So so I have given here the details of the schemes which are available for WS A, B, and C. Next slide, please. So the address is given and the details are given. Next slide. So the scholarships aimed at facilitating re-entry into research of women who do not hold a regular position and whose careers have been disrupted for various reasons. This type of scholarships, WS A, B, and C, were instituted by the Department of Science and Technology. Next slide. So they are very imaginative and innovative, where the granting agency is having the idea of encouraging women who have taken a back seat because they got married and have children. For the sake of childcare, they had to stop their careers. That type of women are given a fillip because of this. Next slide. So till date, so what we did, we developed that booklet and we distributed free and all that. Through that, we disseminated knowledge. Then what we did, we conducted national level essay competitions in so many ways: quiz competitions, essay competitions, PPT competitions, gave cash prizes and merit certificates at the national level. And these prizes were given on Women's Day and on the IPC conferences. The topics are all subject related topics. The only difference is we held them only for women pharmacists. That's the only difference. Next slide. So plenary lectures were, so topics are like this: subject lectures like clinical trials in India, boon or bane, and all the subject topics. Next slide. So this is how we gave prizes. Many other national level functionaries, women and men, helped us. Next slide, please. So this is our college. Professor Girija Shankar at that time, our principal, our colleagues TV Narayan Garu and Koteswar Rao, one of the people who supported us, and my colleagues. Next slide. So this is again Dr. Rao Vadlamudi giving off prizes to the participants and the speakers. So we had participants from the pharmaceutical industry, regulatory, education, and the other healthcare sectors of the pharmacy field. Next slide. So here a drug regulator is talking. Here a student is taking her prize from the highest IPA president. Next slide. Next slide. So I told you I encourage my students. I encourage all my students, not only women. So here some PharmD students presented their work which they did in the hospital, a good research project on diabetes. They presented, they got the first prize, and they were very happy to share it with me. Next slide, please. So this is where Dr. Kanchan Kohli from Delhi was addressing the students. Annamma Devi, one of my scholars, was organizing the presentation. Next slide. So what do girls need? This is my focus. So girls need to be strong in communication, in energy, in innovation, and in entrepreneurship. Women in service need to be strong in innovation, networking, strong-mindedness, flexible in ideas, professional attitudes. So for this, they need help from the society, from the elders in running their families and on working in their careers. So I re-emphasize the support has to come from society and the associations and from the families. Next slide. So measures needed involve, we have to develop biographical sketches, bring material which students can read and get inspired. Prepare a database on women in science at all levels. Let there be a web page. Yes, there is glass ceiling. We have to work on breaking this glass ceiling. We have to work on switching off this leaking pipeline. There should be women at all the stages in the hierarchy. Next slide. There must be projects to help women to get back into research. We have to have a change in the societal attitude where women are also encouraged to take up high positions. Next slide. So I want to say thanks to DST. Next slide. I want to say thanks to organizers and thank you all the listeners for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for tapping on the existing gap where actually the people should be empowered. Like Girvani madam mentioned this morning, from the childhood, it is important to inculcate interest in science. If what you have done as per our observation is within your purview, you have touched upon the young minds to inculcate in them the aptitude and the exact attitude to build up their careers in your own field. Like there is a saying that think beyond the box, but it is also important parallelly to think inside the box also. And in your sector, you have done a very, very remarkable contribution, and thank you so much, which is very much needed. And the students who get groomed in that perspective will definitely build their career in a good manner. You have given so many examples, and untiring programs you have conducted is really a very good contribution, madam. Thank you so much. And power, I wish power to empower more and more and serve more and more people in future, madam. Thanks for your time. Being in UK also, linking up with us and sharing your views. As a Amrit, it is really great, madam. Thank you so much. And at this point, I would like to make a mention to add to your suggestion, madam. Like in our university, as a brainchild of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, we have campus synergy, madam, where there are more than 9 sectors, including DST-sponsored TBI and DPT-sponsored our center where we are sitting, that is Human Biotech Incubation Facility and Livelihood Center, and several other food sectors, TOCIC from DSIR, which is again DST-sponsored. We are all working together to promote innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship in our capacities, and we will definitely join hands with you to do anything in further, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I take this opportunity next to introduce to you all our next speaker, Professor S. Nagini, who is currently UGC Basic Science Research Faculty, Fellow in the Department of Biochemistry and Biotechnology, Annamalai University. Professor Nagini hails from Anantapur of Andhra Pradesh state, and she got graduated from Anantapur Satyasai Institute, Satyasai College, which is a women's college. She is my junior, and I really feel proud to see her in such a good position. She did her PhD after doing her MSc in Zipmer. She did her PhD from Cancer Institute, Chennai, and postdoctoral research she has done in the area of molecular oncology group, University of Liverpool, UK, on Commonwealth Fellowship. And Professor Nagini has over 3 decades of teaching experience and participated in crafting the curriculum for master's and PhD programs in biochemistry and biotechnology. She authored 6 books, which includes a dictionary as well. Her research focuses on mainly on environmental risk factors on cancer with reference to tobacco and welding fume exposure and identification of key molecular targets for cancer chemo intervention by phytochemicals. And another perspective of hers is on mechanistic insights on the anti-cancer potential of neem, a very commonly available plant or tree, a medicinal treasure of India, which is unique to India. And she has mentored 25 PhDs and published 10 chapters in edited research volumes and published over 150 international research papers. And I would make a special mention for the message to the youngsters that please focus on her achievements in terms of H index of 56 and I-10 index of 150. It is very, very hard to achieve. And she has filed 1 national and 2 international patents and successfully completed several projects funded by national and international funding agencies. You will listen from her about the work of those fundings. And she worked as a coordinator for Indian side of the EU, the European Collaborative Project under the 7th Framework Program on Funk Food Organization. She is also a member of advisory and funding bodies, editorial board member and reviewer. She acted as regional director and scientific coordinator for the World Neem Organization as a member of United Nations of Global Compact. Also, she is active. She is a recipient of National Young Women Bioscientist Award from Department of Biotechnology as early as in 2002 and continuing in her higher research position in Annamalai University. Thank you so much, Professor Nagini, and over to you.
Thank you for the very Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Thank you for the elaborate introduction, and all credit goes to my students. Especially, I should mention my girl students. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to be part of this event. It gives me great pleasure to be amidst you today on this Vigyan Utsav. My presentation will largely focus on women who battled against all odds to make a mark in science. I will then walk you through a little bit of the work that we did, which was largely funded by DST SERB. So that's how I'm going to take you through today's presentation. May I have the next one, please? Now, you're all aware that science and technological innovation are key to prosperity, whether it is global or national. So scientists, influence the focus of research and therefore the general development of society. Having said this, I should emphasize that this responsibility should be equally shared by both men and women. Next one, please. However, there's a huge gender gap. As of 2021, only 59 Nobel Prizes were awarded to women, while men received 885. Women constitute only 30% of the world's researchers, and there are only 28% of women and girls in STEM, science, engineering, technology, and math. So that's quite a dismal statistic. Now let's move on and take a quick look at some of the trailblazers in this kind of scenario, how women have fought against all odds and still they could make a mark in science. Next slide, please. We'll start with way back in Greece. You had this person called Hypatia, a Greek philosopher. She was the first woman who made a substantial contribution to mathematics and astronomy, and her contributions being the charting of celestial bodies and invention of the hydrometer. Unfortunately, she was brutally murdered by fanatics. Next one, please. The French mathematician, physician, and philosopher, those days they were not very focused on specialization. People used to do math, philosophy, astronomy, biology. You've heard of Archimedes, who was doing so many things. So this lady mathematician from France was a mathematician, physician, philosopher, Marie-Sophie Germain, who pioneered elasticity theory, laying the foundations of understanding Fermat's last theorem. But again, she was not recognized during her lifetime, obviously because of the bias against women. Next one. All of you definitely know Marie Curie or Madame Curie, a double Nobel laureate for her significant contributions to radioactivity, due to which exposure she died eventually. Because she was so much involved, she didn't take care of the hazards of radioactivity. She was the first woman to win a Nobel, the first woman in Europe to do a PhD, the first woman to get 2 Nobel Prizes. And 2011 was declared as the year of Marie Curie in Poland and France. Next slide, please. Now, this lady is my icon. I never cease to admire Rosalind Franklin. The world knows Watson and Crick for the discovery of the double helical structure of DNA. But many people would not have heard of Rosalind Franklin, a biophysicist and X-ray crystallographer who was responsible for the X-ray diffraction data which enabled understanding of DNA structure. Besides this, she did a lot more, and she was diagnosed of cancer while she was working, and After that, she published 13 papers in 2 years, in and out of hospital, hospital to lab, lab to hospital. That was her commitment and dedication to science and to research. Next one. Unfortunately, she could not, because Nobel Prize is not given posthumously, she could not get Nobel for the work, her work, but she got a lot of posthumous recognition. Next slide, please. One of which I'll not go into all the details, one of which being the Chicago Medical School, the name being changed to Rosalind Franklin University. So she had a lot of honors after her death. She also has awards named after her and so on and so forth. Next one, please. Another icon of mine, a personal icon, is Barbara McClintock, an American cytogeneticist. She had to wait 30 long years to get the Nobel Prize. It took only 10 years for Watson and Crick. It took only less than 10 years for Carrie Mullis for the PCR. So she had to wait a very long time. She was discriminated against, not getting research funds, not allowed to work in the lab. She was a very different kind of woman. She used to have short hair. In those days, America was still conservative. She would wear trousers. She was not the typical stereotype woman. It was very different. And she used to, because she was not allowed into the lab, she used to climb the pipeline and enter into her lab, which was in the 4th floor. She was eventually awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine for her fantastic work on jumping genes. Until then, people used to think that DNA was just sitting around in one place, and this was a phenomenal observation. And she is also has evolved a certain way of looking at things, or a certain way of doing science, a subjective way of doing science, which she calls a feeling for the organism. She says, when I look at under the microscope, I am bacteria, I am those mitochondria, I am the chloroplast, I swim around, I talk to the mitochondria, I talk to the nucleus. So that's the kind of subjective involvement that she had in her work. And this led to what is known as McClintockism, a subjective way of doing research. Next one, please. We are all still in the pandemic, the COVID era. So many lives and livelihoods have been lost. This is something truly, truly remarkable, and all women and the whole of humanity should be proud that it is women who gave us the COVID vaccine. A whole lot of them, total dedication. Whether it is Kathleen Carrico, I would just name one or two of them in particular. This lady, Hungarian biochemist who migrated to the US, she never got any research funds. People didn't think that mRNA vaccines were serious stuff. She was neglected, not really taken seriously. And eventually she made vaccines, not just for COVID, but also for cancer. It's being used now. And she also had to battle cancer. Then you had Neeta Patel from Gujarat. So she lost, her father was suffering from tuberculosis. She had to literally beg for bus fare. So that was the state of her financial status. There have been women who have, excelled in science, who have totally dedicated themselves. Next one, please. I would recommend all you youngsters, young women, not just women, but even boys and girls who are into science to read these works. One is published by Indian Academy of Science. It's titled Leelavati's Daughters. And the other one is called 31 Fantastic Adventures in Science. Indian women were not far behind their Western counterparts when it came to scientific endeavor. And these books chronicle their travails, tribulations, how much they have devoted themselves to their passion. Next one, please. Not many know that Anandibai Joshi was the first Indian woman physician way back in 1887. And there's another lady, Kadambini Ganguly. She was the first Indian woman to practice medicine in India. These were the pioneer medical scientists that India should be very proud of. Next one, please. Another Biba Chaudhary, another Indian jewel. She worked on particle physics and cosmic rays. She was the first to discover mesons and, believe me or not, a star HD 86081, erstwhile that was the name given, has now been rechristened as Biba. How great it is for not just Biba Chaudhary, but for women and in Indian women in particular. Next one, please. Then we had Airavati Karve. She was a pioneering anthropologist and also India's first woman sociologist. Next one, please. Kamal Ranadev was a trailblazer in cancer research. She was known for establishing viral and hormonal links to cancer. Until then, people did not know that viruses, whether DNA or RNA viruses, can cause cancer. Hormones are capable of causing female reproductive cancers as well as prostate cancer in men. So she gave the first clues to these kind of links to cancer. Next one, please. Rajeshwari Chatterjee was the first woman scientist to pioneer microwave engineering in India. Next one. Raman Parimala. She has been described as a supreme and powerful algebraist. She's a world-renowned mathematician and she has received awards galore. Next one, please. Anna Mani, known as the weather woman of India, a meteorologist. Not many people know. These people have lived in shadows. They have not been publicizing themselves to that extent. She has standardized the drawings of 100 different weather instruments. Next one, please. Janaki Ammal, botanist, cytogeneticist. She did extraordinary original research on sugarcane and eggplants. She is known as the woman who brought sweetness to India with her work on sugarcane. And she co-authored a lot of seminal work in botany as well as in cytogenetics. Next one, please. She was awarded the Padma Shri. Asima Chatterjee, an organic chemist, noted for development of drugs, not just for one disease, for epilepsy, for malaria, and for cancer. In case of cancer, she is known for her work on vinca alkaloids. Next one. Archana Sharma. She's a renowned Indian botanist, cytogeneticist, cell biologist, and cytotoxicologist. She is the founder editor of an international journal called The Nucleus. Next one. Darshan Ranganathan. She pioneered work on protein folding. It's a very difficult concept. It is responsible for a protein to be functional. Without proper three-dimensional folding, a protein in its natural environment in the cell cannot perform the various functions. Next one. The Indian government has rightly decided to honor these about 11 different women scientists. Chairs will be established in the names of these eminent Indian women scientists. Why? To inspire young girls like you to take up a career in science, not only take up a science career, but also these trailblazers like them, you will also excel in the profession in science and technology. A very good initiative indeed. Next one, please. Closer home, we have a few scientists who have made a name for themselves, for their state and for the country. I couldn't accommodate all of them. Just a couple I would like to mention from Andhra Pradesh who have made significant contributions. One is Vijayalakshmi Ravindranath. She is the founder, director of a Center for Brain Research. She's done great work, seminal contributions in neurological science. And then you have Lakshmi Kantam Manepalli, who developed chemical catalysts to achieve the highest possible atom economy. Next one, please. Now, I've taken you on a journey across certain women who have won a lot of acclaim globally, international scientists, Indian women